Hello, my name is Larry Watson. I'm a board member of the Fire Safe Council. I'm here to share with you what I've learned about managing our biomass after living here for 28 years. By biomass, other words are vegetation or fuel. What I'm sharing is not only from my own experience and research, but also what I've learned from our neighbors, some of whom have been or were up here much longer. For the last 7 years, I've been studying and promoting alternatives to the chip and scatter or chip and ship. We currently sponsor that program for all the residents. My findings suggest that we mimic nature by burning, composting, and making biochar. These natural processes are carbon negative or at least carbon neutral. Wildfire suppression has played a part in reducing soil sequestration. Let's define defensible space. Your defensible space includes more than just the land adjacent to your house. Your most important defensible space allows you and your family to escape. Fires you cannot control are possible, and a possible secondary alternative route is desirable. You don't have much control over state highways and county roads, but your Fire Safe Council advocates for you continually. Most of us share these public roads via community roads and shared driveways. Hopefully you have the cooperation of everyone involved. We have discussed the CAL FIRE recommendations or requirements, but we also need to consider protection for your power and water supplies. What if escape is not possible and you have to stay? The best way to handle your biomass is to not grow it or to manage how much it produces. No one wants just hardscape everywhere. It's beneficial to have in mind what you want looking forward, and it depends in our area on whether you live within the redwood forest or above it. Within the redwood forest, your choices are limited. You can convert them to shaded fire breaks by removing other material, remove some trees to thin, and yearly remove suckers and dead wood. If you're at elevations above the upland redwood forest like I am, to minimize your fuel for wildfire, grasslands and oak woodlands are the plant communities you want to try to establish. Maintain as shaded fire breaks. You want to limit the chaparral at the margins. They're nice if you like quail and rabbits. I, when possible, I remove Douglas firs because the foliage is flammable, they're shallow rooted, they blow over, they're lightning rods for dry weather lightning. Also, remove California Bay laurels because they host the organism that causes sudden oak death. Annual mowing, pruning, and thinning for firewood is all you need to do. We are so lucky that essentially all of our native trees can be maintained almost forever as shrubs, hedges, or as fire-safe trees of any size. They don't like being aggressively pruned, and the earlier you start, the better. I've been successful with redwoods, oaks, Douglas firs, madrones, and ceanothus. My two most valuable tools in maintaining fire breaks and the extent of grasslands and chaparral is a two-wheel tractor with a sickle bar mower attachment and a battery-powered adjustable angle extended hedger. So what is biomass? The biomass I'll be talking specifically about includes the plants and plant material in your defensible space. Here I have an example of 5 pounds of biomass from a Douglas fir that was cut down near my house. In this sample, this 5 pounds of Douglas fir trunk wood contains 43,000 BTUs of energy, roughly the same as a half a gallon of propane. If it were burned completely, we would be left with 1 ounce of ash, or about 1% of the original weight. Everything else would go back up into the atmosphere as water vapor and carbon dioxide that were captured during photosynthesis. The carbon content of this 5 pounds is about 50%. If we could capture some of that carbon as biochar, then we could sequester that carbon for perhaps thousands of years in the soil. All biomass is combustible. Some biomass is also flammable. Flammable means that if it's ignited, it will continue to burn without the addition of extra heat. We're going to start with a list of what you can do in managing your biomass. If you do nothing, you can let nature use fire and death and composting to recycle carbon. We can do harvest and chip and spread it or ship it somewhere else. Burning in a wood stove is really a great thing if you have a modern wood stove with outside air combustion. You can do pile burning, barbecue, grill, do prescriptive burns, or make biochar. Another way to capture carbon is with composting, which is easy for grass and leaves. Biochar is nature's way of sequestering carbon into the soil. So is compost, but here we have, over the last 800,000 years, measures of how much carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere. It's no longer in the soil. We've taken it out and put it into the atmosphere. We can make a contribution to reduce that. Nature makes biochar with wildfire. 5 years after the CZU fire, these redwoods in Big Basin State Park have resprouted, but plenty of char remains. Unless that char is ignited again, it will remain on or in the soil for hundreds or thousands of years. You can make biochar in your kettle grill. In the July 2025 issue of the South Skyline Association's Skylines, I give the details there. You can find that online. You can also, where permitted, make biochar in a flame cap barrel grill. By that, I mean there's no holes in the barrel, so all the combustion occurs right on the top surface. It's capped with a flame, almost completely eliminating smoke. Some of us in the South Skyline area can get permits to do prescriptive burning. As you can see in the photo, this can capture char into the soil. If you live in Santa Cruz County like I do, you may be eligible to participate in the Backyard Burn Program. You can make 4x4x4 piles. Start out with the biggest, ugliest wood as the base, and we're going to put the smallest material on top. You light the pile from the top, and the flames should be very vigorous and eliminate essentially most of the smoke. As it burns, you want to take a rake and rake any charcoal that's completely gotten to that stage aside. And as I show here, I'm using a garden hose to wet down and stop and quench that part. This process made about 25 pounds of biochar. You want to quench it completely to make sure there's nothing left burning. What I'd like to see is us make more biochar with our neighbors. In the upper right-hand corner of this book cover, you see the Ring of Fire. That's a way that a community could do biochar production and do a really good job of it. Anyway, I recommend Kelpie's book, and please come to the Fire Safe Council table today to continue this conversation. Thank you for attending.